In Ecuador, the government and the indigenous movement that led the national strike are making progress at the technical dialogue table to determine the mechanism that will govern the next negotiations. In Uruguay, social organizations and the trade union PIT-CNT carries out a strike due to the high cost of fuel and other essential goods. And the Israeli army killed with a gas missile a Syrian citizen from the town of Hadad in the southwestern province of Quneitra. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Ecuador, the government and the indigenous movement that led the national strike are making progress at the technical dialogue table to determine the mechanisms that will govern the next negotiations. The ministers of government, Francisco Jimenez, and the leader of the social organizations remain at the headquarters of the Ecuadorian Episcopal Conference to discuss the points of the peace agreement signed to end the protests in the country. In the middle of the meeting, the delegations discussed the different issues concerning the roadmap and negotiations during the 90 days established in the agreement. This part will seek to respond to the decreased issues by the government as well as the demands made by the CONAIE.
Today we have approved a methodology, we have approved an operational process, and this will be legitimized with our base structures, which we have requested until Tuesday that we have on this agenda on Wednesday the 13th. The first roundtable will be set up. In this sense, there are substantial issues that we need to deepen, but there are also issues that are not only and exclusively on the agenda of the executive, but that have to do with other state functions.
The indigenous leader also ratified that the intentions of the dialogue table is to reach agreements that guarantees the right of citizens.
Dignity, we come for our rights, and we hope that in this sense, from one side to the other, we can generate conditions so that the people of Ecuador is the one who really wins, not just one sector.
Shifting topics, and still in Ecuador, at least 2 people have lost their lives and 13 provinces have been affected by the rains that are lashing the country. According to authorities, after 2 days of rains in sectors of the highlands and the Amazon, the first fatality has been identified. An elderly man who died in a landslide in Pauta province of Azuay, while the second victim was a minor who died in the province of Cañar. Meanwhile, the authorities warned that 43 dangerous events were identified within the 13 provinces. The teams of the Department of Risk Management are in the scenes carrying out clean-up work. In Venezuela, Glenn Castellano is transferred to the court hearing to confess the detail of the assassination of professor and revolutionary activist Carlos Lanz. Castellano was transferred from the body of criminal and criminalistic scientific investigation in which he offered details of the criminal act. The crimes were attributed to him in a hearing of homicide for herd association and simulation of punishable act, and a review was made to verify if he was involved in another punishable act. The Attorney General, Tarek William Saab, points out that the subject must present before the judges of the case to a structure of the criminal organization that executed the death by order of Lanz, indicating the participation of each one of the members on the abominable murder. In Mexico, the Attorney General's office opened an investigation against former President Enrique Peña Nieto for several millionaire transactions. Paulo Gomez, head of the Financial Intelligence Unit, emphasized that the folder with all the details was delivered to the Attorney General's office. Gomez points out that the Public Prosecutor's Office launched the investigation after discovering a series of millionaire banking operations by the former president. President Manuel López Obrador stated that all information related to politically exposed persons must be analyzed, informed, and handed over to the Public Prosecutor's Office.
A trace was detected in which a former president of the Republic obtained economic benefit. It was observed that the former president received, by means of international transfer, 26,001,429 pesos, 74 cents in local currency.
In Brazil, former President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva will take part in the event Siempre Juntos por Rio, where he intends to make alliances in one of the country's major electoral strongholds. The event is to be held in the city of Rio de Janeiro, where Lula will attend, accompanied by former Governor Geraldo Alckmin, who is a pre-candidate for the vice presidency of the Workers' Party. Also attending will be local leaders of political organizations that are members of the movement supported by the Going Together for Brazil, Brazilian Socialists, Communists of Brazil, and Socialism and Freedom. So far, the former president leads all opinion polls and is on his way to the next elections in the country. We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back. In Uruguay, social organizations and the trade union PIT-CNT carried out a strike due to the high costs of fuel and other essential goods. The mobilization left from the Plaza Independencia, located in front of the headquarters of the executive power of Uruguay, and has as its final destination the Legislative Palace. According to the Trade Union Center, the strike is for the implementation of decent jobs, better wages, social security, and the rejection of the increase in the retirement age. The president of the PIT-CNT, Marcelo Abdallah, assured that during the last 2 months, the organization made a series of proposal addresses to President Luis Lacalle Pou, which were never attended to. While citizens of Haiti decided to demobilize to demand justice for President Jovenel Moïse on the occasion of the first anniversary of his assassination. Authorities intend to hold a ceremony in the gardens of the Museum of the Haitian National Pantanal, while Moïse followers organize wreaking masses, floral offering, and cultural activities all over the country. 1 year after the death of President Moïse, citizens agreed and points out that the situation of the country is deteriorating rapidly due to a lack of democratic institutions. Meanwhile, security and violence in the country is critical due to the gun violence. Authorities registered more than 500 kidnappings in 2022 and over 200 deaths as a result of gun warfares in the north of Port-au-Prince. The U.S. authorities, the U.S. authorized the export transactions of liquefied petroleum gas with Venezuela until July 2023. The U.S. Treasury Department explained that the extension of the license authorized the exports or re-export directly or indirectly by state company Petróleos de Venezuela, PDVSA, or any of its affiliates. The U.S. government issued a general license in 2021 authorizing shipments of liquefied petroleum gas to Venezuela, a measure that expires this Friday, July 8th. The U.S. move is part of Washington's efforts to expand fossil fuel supply sources in the midst of sanctions on Russian oil. Russia, the government claims U.S. spending on military and biological activities in Ukraine exceeded $250 million. Russian officials said that within the framework of military operation in Ukraine, the Russian forces received a report of an activity of the U.S. Defense Threats Reduction Agency in Ukraine from 2005 to 2016. The head of radiological, chemical, and biological defense troops of the Russian armed force, Igor Kirillov, stressed that the document contains information about the sponsors of the biological threat reductions program and emphasized that the official activities of the Pentagon in Ukraine are only front for illegal military and biological research. The Russian government sent over 480 caravans with humanitarian assistance to Donetsk and Luhansk population as part of its military operation in the region. A defense ministry spokesman said that since March the 1st, 483 caravans of trucks were dispatched to the self-proclaimed People's Republics. The aid sends total over 37 tons of food, medicine, and bottled water and construction materials for the repair of the damaged infrastructure. Let us remember that Moscow's objective is to denazify and dismilitarize Ukraine. In the Netherlands, protests by farmers and transporters continue as they oppose the regulation of environmental emissions that have an impact on natural agriculture. Tractor drivers as well as truckers resume the blockade of highways as well as the seizures of logistics centers that store agricultural productivity. The demonstrators denounced the silence of the government and the lack of response of the Ministry of Agriculture to the imminent closure of farms. During the day, several drivers were attacked by the Hernivir regional police who were trying to leave the blockade and remove the barricades of the tractors. In Poland, farmers take to the streets this Thursday in front of the Palace of Culture and Science to protest against the government for destabilizing food production. Farmers in Warsaw are also demonstrating against rising interest rates, soaring prices of agricultural inputs, and resulting instability in agricultural production. In this sense, protesting farmers are unhappy with the lifting of tariffs on Ukrainian agricultural products. This Wednesday, the UN authorities warned about the increase of hunger at the world level after the publication of the report State of Security and Nutrition in the World. In this sense, the Assistant Secretary General of the organization, Amina Mohammed, affirmed that the world is moving away from the goal of eradicating hunger by 2030.
For the SDG 2030 deadline, the call is clear. Food systems must be transformed to build resilience against these drivers. We cannot continue with the business as usual. We must make the transition from humanitarian relief to development, addressing the root causes. By investing in sustainable development, driven by transformed and reconceptualized food systems, we can address the root cause of hunger, food security, and malnutrition.
We have more news coming up after this final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back. This Thursday, the Israeli army killed with a gun and missile Syrian citizens from the town of Hadad in the southwestern province of Quneitra. A Tel Aviv drone fired a missile at a 46-year-old Farid Fuad Mustafa while he was near his house, resulting in his immediate death. The victim was a member of the leadership of the ruling Ba'ath Party in the locality, and a former fighter who supported the army in its fights against the Israeli-backed organization in the area between the year 2012 and 2018. The town of Hadad has witnessed at least 10 Israeli attacks against people known for their support for the resistance to the Israeli occupying forces in the Syrian Gulf and with long history of fighting terrorism in the area. U.S. military forces against plunder Syria's natural resources. U.S. forces on Thursday loaded at least 45 tanker trucks loaded with oil from the Arab nation from the northeastern province of Hasakeh, considered the richest of the country with natural and agricultural resources. Also, members of the local press continue to publish images of a caravan of trucks from the Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, a militia allied with Washington, leaving the oil files bond for Iraq, in a flagrant violation of all international norms and law. Sudan's civilian bloc yet on Tuesday a proposal by the country's de facto president to usher in a civilian government. Hundreds of protesters called to move a hoax. The condemnation was directed at the decision of Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, who promised on Monday the opening up to administration to allow civilian groups to form part of the new transitional government. In response to what they saw as a farce, the Sudanese protesters held a sitting in the center of the capital, Khartoum, until Wednesday night, when in faces of repression by security forces. The protests also spread to other cities, copying the aforementioned sitting partner. The G20 head of diplomacy began arriving in Bali, Indonesia, which has a ministerial meeting between Thursday and Friday where they will address an agenda focused on global security and economic recovery. For the day, diplomats will discuss the conflict in Ukraine, food and energy security, and global inflation, which threatens to trigger a worldwide recession. One of the key points of the meeting will also be marked by the presence of Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who will speak out against Western accusations toward Russia. Washington had anticipated that its Secretary Antony Blinken will hold a bilateral meeting on Monday with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and roll out a meeting with Lavrov. On the sidelines of G20 Foreign Minister Summit, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met in Indonesia. Lavrov said at a bilateral meeting, Russia and China will continue to increase practical interaction. Russian Foreign Minister that Russian and Chinese relations have an enormous potential. Lavrov stated it will continue to substantive development of new forms of cooperation independent of negative external factors for the benefit of both countries and their people. The Prime Minister said a number of states were offering their support to Russia and China. Hundreds of thousands of worshippers started a mass pilgrimage to Mecca, the largest since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. After 2 years of drastic limitations, 1 million Muslims fully vaccinated, including 850,000 from abroad, took part of the Hajj or pilgrimage. The journey takes place around Islam holy state located in the west of Saudi Arabia, in the great mosque of Mecca. Pilgrims must complete the tawaf, their roundabout around the Kaaba, largest cubit structure, wrapped in black clothes embroidered with gold, towards which Muslims from all over the world turn to pray.
It's an honor to welcome the pilgrims, a true honor. May they return safely to their countries. They are welcome here anytime. It's their second country. As I saw the Kaaba, I felt like I was in heaven. It's amazing, so beautiful. May God accept my Hajj and that of all pilgrims.
teleSUR English continues to grow. His signal now reaches Europe. You can order it from your cable dealer or tune it yourself. These parameters that you see on the screen are replaced since July the 1st, and quite soon for the changes will be implemented for the signal in the Middle East and Africa. Now more than ever, the world connected to us and our stories are being heard all around the globe. This news multi-platform will continue to provide trustful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and our faithfulness to our audience. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For TeleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.